Welcome into the electrifying world of Wide Eye Sports, the podcast that brings you the latest in NFL news, stories, and not so expert analysis on all things NFL. Buckle up as we dive into the exhilarating 2023 NFL season. What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Wide Eye Sports. We got the crew here. We got Brenner hosting again today. We got our boy Dalton in here, our boy Spoon and Riley all on the podcast today. We're going to be talking about week one this week. It's going to be a week one centric episode, and just kind of a recap of the offseason. We're just going to kind of cap off the offseason, looking forward into the regular season. This is kind of the pseudo week one, podcast episode. So with that, I'll just let everybody introduce themselves real quick. Everybody go ahead and introduce yourself. We'll start with Dalton.
What up? I'm Dalt, Cowboys fan. Just here to have fun, talk sports. Lane, take it away.
What up, guys? I'm back for round two, and I'm excited. I think we're actually going to get into some debates today, and that's what I'm ready for.
I am a master debater.
Master debater. That is him. You also notice that I am wearing my Bills jersey today. I'm a Cowboys fan, but I'm still repping the Bills. Bills Mafia, I fucking love it. So take it away, Riley.
Fake fan.
I'm Riley, and we are 2 days away from kickoff. It is almost here, and I could not be more excited.
Yes.
It's here. I'm so pumped. I've been doing fantasy drafts. I've been doing research. It's right.
Shit, I got another one after this.
You're so close. All right. With that, though, we're going to hop right into things here and pull up the weeklies. We're going to start everything off with everybody's presumptive game of the week. So everybody's just going to give their game of the week take and why. I'm going to start it off. I'm going to start with the favorite. I think it's an easy one. I'm going Bills at Jets, Monday Night Football, week one. Josh Allen going into New York to take on Aaron Rodgers in his brand new shiny toy Jets. I mean, this game, the Jets defense is great. Rodgers is going to have that offense, better than it was last year, plain and simple. They're just going to be a better team. On the offensive side of the football, Breece Hall and Dalvin Cook in that backfield is going to be crazy. We're going to get to see James Cook, Dalvin Cook go head-to-head again. Dalvin's undefeated in that little rivalry, just for all of you keeping track at home. And, I think personally I'm probably going to take the Bills still, even though it's at Jets. I hate taking...
Same. I got the Bills
I hate taking the brand new offense. I feel like maybe 1 to 3 weeks to get it really kicking into gear, and Rodgers never really has played well week one the past few years. So granted, most of that came because he never participated in training camps because he's been there for 30 years. But I really, I feel like the Bills probably have this one. With that, I'll just pass it off to Dalton for his game of the week.
Game of the week, got to go with my guys. Cowboys-Giants game. I'm kind of excited about this. The Cowboys have really, since Dak Prescott has taken over as quarterback, have really owned the Cowboys. The Cowboys have owned the Giants. Really just kind of have their number. Last 10 appearances, the Giants have lost, but the Cowboys have lost their last 4 game ones of the season. So we're gonna see how this plays out for them. Not expecting the superstition for there to continue, and absolutely expecting the Cowboys to go to Daniel Jones' house and just tear it all down.
All right, Riley, I want to hear yours first before I go.
So this might be a little bit of a homer take. But
here we go.
Me out. I'm going Bears Packers.
It's going to be a good game.
Now, not because it's going to be the most high scoring game. I would be surprised if either of these teams got more than 30.
You're surprised if they cross 20.
There are so many. Okay, hey, this is my take. There's so many questions surrounding both of these teams on both sides. What's the Bears defense going to look like with the new pieces they added? Is Justin Fields that guy? I'm interested to see what the running back rotation for the Bears is They still have Khalil Herbert. They brought in Donta Foreman and drafted Roshan Johnson. And can Justin Fields be that guy? And then for the Packers, you have Jordan Love, who I feel is a huge question mark. I don't know whether he's the next big thing or he's going to end up just like Trey Lance. But can those young wide receivers in Green Bay step up enough to help him out? And what will the team look like without Rodgers? But I feel like a lot of these questions will be answered in this first game, and I cannot wait to see what it looks like.
I guarantee you we will know some of those answers after the first game.
All right. Well, my week 1 game of the week.
Hold on. Spoon. Hold on. Before you go, I would just like to apologize to everybody at home. Dalton had to step away for a second. I think some technical difficulty happened or a dog started barking. Something happened and he had to step away. So I just wanted to give the folks at home a little quick tidbit. So, Kuhn, back to you.
No, you're good. I actually have Dolphins Chargers.
Yeah.
So the reasons I have this game is because the AFC is so stacked right now. This game is so important to who makes it to the wild card at the end of the season. Like, both of these teams need to have a win here. Personally, I have the Chargers winning this game. They have home field advantage. I know that it's not great being in LA. Like, you literally have fans all over the place there. But I think it's also going to be a great outing for Justin Herbert to show that he actually is an MVP candidate. And I see him just stepping up to the plate and taking this W. It's tough to say that against Mike McDaniels because I love him to death. But that is my game of the week. I do have a dark horse game of the week, too. A game that we think is going to be closer than we actually think, and that's Eagles-Pats.
Okay.
So, personally, I have the Eagles winning this game, but I'm telling you, there are a lot of people riding the Patriots right now. I don't know why. It's a home game for them, so I guess I see that. They're always going to be on board with Bill Belichick coaching on the other side. I get that. Not a big fan of Mac Jones, but just keep an eye on that game. It might be closer than most of us expect.
I agree that.
I would love that. Would love to see the Patriots win that game.
I would love to see the Patriots win that game too. I think the Eagles win, but I think it's going to be much closer.
So I mean,
right? I think it's going to be. A good game.
I think that is a perfect segue into the next segment, and I don't know how much Spoon knew about this, but our next segment is everybody's prediction for MVP of the week and biggest loser of the week. So we're each going to take a minute, talk about who we think is going to get the MVP for the week. That could be anything from coach, player, team, referee, mascot, whoever you want it to be. Same thing with biggest loser. It could be anything you want. Just has to pertain to the current week. And my biggest loser for the week, start backwards here, was actually the Patriots. The Patriots are my biggest loser. You have the Patriots, who have a team who's not. We don't know exactly what they're going to be. They have a tough schedule, and then you draw a home game, and you're like, yes, home game week 1. Get the crowd into it. This will be great. Who we playing? The defending NFC champion Eagles. Awesome. Freaking great. I mean, it's just a deflating thing. It's just we get this home game week 1, and I just feel like they're just the biggest loser of the week for that. I mean, this is all grain of salt here. I don't see, any crazy blowouts happening, anything super crazy happening this week. It's just probably a little bit weird to say considering it's week 1 and there's always something crazy that happens week 1. There's always a team that's guaranteed to win that loses, and we'll talk more about that next week when and if it happens. But my MVP of the week is, I got to give a shout out to Shedeur Sanders, Colorado, 510 passing yards. That boy went off.
Bro.
Broke the record. Game
team.
1.
I mean, everybody on that Colorado.
That's why I'm placing my biggest bet next week. I know that we're not talking about bets, but it's actually on Colorado's the spread against Nebraska. I'm putting so much money down on that. Just letting you know, because I'm big on them after seeing them throw down against TCU.
I mean, I think that they just needed the quick little shout out for MVP. They're my MVP from this last weekend. But next weekend, I definitely have. Sorry, lost the page here. have Lamar Jackson as my MVP this week. I think he's going to have a huge game. I think he's going to have a really good season this year. Baltimore's got a good defense, and they're going to run the absolute living shit out of the football. And that's going to open up guys like Zay Flowers, who's a rookie, who's a really good route runner, to make some plays down the field. I mean, and they got Odell back, and I don't think Odell's going to be Odell of old, but I think he can make some good third down catches. You know, Mark Andrews is Mark Andrews, and I think he'll be a stud all year. I think the Ravens are going to be good, and I think that Lamar has a good cast around him, and he's going to ball out. So with that, I'm gonna pass it on to whoever wants to take next.
I'll hop in. I think my MVP is going to be Jimmy Garoppolo. I really want to see him go into the Raiders and just elevate them. I think that would be so great, and also it would just be fun to see Russell Wilson and Sean Payton lose week 1. Everyone's got a lot of expectations for them, and everybody thinks that Sean Payton is going to elevate Russell Wilson. I don't think there's any elevating Russell Wilson anymore. I think he is on that downhill. And then biggest loser of the week, I have the Cardinals. The Cardinals are absolutely going to take the biggest L. I think they are going to score 0 points in their opening game.
That's I feel like the Cardinals.
Listen. Let me take it away next, because my biggest, my MVP of the week is actually going to coincide with what Dalton just said. It's actually Russell Wilson.
Ooh.
I think this is a huge game for him. I think new coach, new game scheme, he's got to show up and ball. If he does not show up and ball the first week, maybe the second week, then everybody's going to be moved on from Russell Wilson. And honestly, I don't see him being angry in Denver anymore.
He does have a very, it's everyone's really looking at him. Last year, we were already looking at him, and he didn't do anything.
I think they'll give him a few weeks.
I
think you're looking like week 5 or 6, because he's in a new offense and all that kind of stuff.
But I think this is the perfect scenario for him to ball. He's playing against a weaker team in his division.
Yeah.
They got the home field advantage. This is it. This is your chance, Russell.
I feel
show up, show us who you are.
I feel like they could definitely ball out week 1 and then drop a goose week 2. You know what I mean? Ball out. Look at the Vikings last year, right? You had Kirk Cousins, Kevin O'Connell, new offense. They came out against Green Bay. JJ had 160 yards at halftime. They were balling. And then week 2, we go into Philly and just drop a goose egg. And that happens a lot of the times with new offenses. The defense doesn't really know what you're doing yet. Somebody gets tape on you, and then the second week they adjust perfectly, shut you down. I just think it'll be a little bit farther into the season before the ship on Russ sails. If they have 3 or 4 bad games after week 2, gone. See ya. Bye. Have a good day. But I don't think they'll cut him. I just think they'll bench him. But
I just think it's very important for him to show out this first game, and I think it's a perfect scenario for him to show out this first week. It's setting up for him. He's got a new coach, new game scheme, going against a team with a brand new quarterback. It's a division rival, but it's probably the weakest division rival that you have. It's perfect. Show up, show who you are, show who you were, not last year, show who you were before that. This is a great spot for him to be in, and I love it. So that's why I wanted to go next, because after hearing what Dalton said about Garoppolo, I had to jump in and give my little bit about Wilson.
Absolutely.
So my biggest loser of the week, it's kind of going with what you said, Brenner, but it's in a different game. I think it's the Lions. So I have the Lions winning the NFC North. I feel like a lot of people have that as well. It sucks that the week 1 that they play the Kansas City Chiefs. It's not good for them. Kelsey may, I know that he hyperextended his knee earlier today. It wasn't anything serious though. So I don't know if he's going to play or not. Regardless if he plays or not, that's still a tough matchup to go into Arrowhead week 1 and show that, hey, we're the top guys in the NFC North. It's going to be a difficult road for them. I don't know if they're going to – I have them losing even with Kelsey out still, but I think they're going to be the biggest loser. It just sucks for them, honestly. Just the way that it drew up.
Still got Chris Jones out too.
Yep. So, that's a big loss. Chris Jones he was the best defensive lineman, overall defensive lineman, in my opinion, in the NFL last year. Micah Parsons is the best defensive player, but just He's also he's a linebacker in my opinion. So I'm clarifying.
Yeah, he's very versatile.
So I mean, you could say Nick Bosa, and I agree. You could Nick Bosa could be the best D lineman. I just think what Chris Jones did for that defense is immeasurable in winning a Super Bowl. So it's huge to not have him out on the field. Riley, you got yours?
Yep.
So my week 1 MVP is going to be Trevor Lawrence versus the Colts. I think this is a great matchup for the Jags to come in and just put on a clinic offensively, build some confidence, utilize those new playmakers against a team that is not on your level. But and I think they will walk away looking really good.
God, I hope
after
so.
the Colts.
Yep, I see it.
But my biggest loser is kind of riding off what Brenner said, but I'm going to be a little more specific. I'm going to go Mac Jones versus the Eagles. I think the Eagles defense is going to eat Mac Jones alive.
3 interceptions.
And I think if Mac Jones doesn't perform this season, there's going to be some very tough conversations that need to be had inside the Patriots about what they're going to do moving forward. So I think this is a big season for Mac Jones too, and I don't see him starting off very well.
I'll go over the Eagles defense later in this podcast.
The Eagles defensive line is a scary unit. Spoon's going to talk more about that later, but I just wanted to throw out that they're a scary unit.
It's not like Mac Jones is the most elusive guy.
The weird thing about Mac Jones is that dude's such an enigma because he got into the NFL and picked up NFL ball like that. Like he just stepped in and was able to be a game managing quarterback right away and has taken no further progression since. Like he stepped in day one and was the exact same guy he is today. He's just a game manager. He's really good at it. Don't get me wrong. He's a top 20 quarterback and he can just step in from day one and just run an NFL offense. That's crazy. But he hasn't taken a step yet. He hasn't gone any farther than that. He just stayed there. Maybe that's coaching. Maybe Bill Belichick's just keep doing your job. You're doing great. Have a good day. Who knows? But
man, if I was with you right now, I would slap you across the face for saying maybe it's coaching about Bill Belichick.
He's a defensive guy, though.
That guy could turn a turd into a fucking quarterback.
I'm saying he doesn't want to overplay his hand with a young quarterback. He doesn't want his young quarterback getting over his skis, essentially, and trying to do too much. And he's just trying to bring him along slower. I mean, that's what they did with Brady. Brady didn't really come into his own for 5 seasons.
That's true.
I will say the New England Patriots, their wide receiving core really scares me right now because we don't know. I've been hearing shit that says Juju Smith-Schuster's knee could explode at any moment. That's their number one receiver. Who else do they have besides
Devontae Parker?
Yeah.
Jacoby Myers.
I'm just worried they don't have much depth after them.
I agree completely.
So.
In Mac Jones' defense, I lived with a Patriots fan, so I had to listen about Mac Jones every day. But he did have a defensive coordinator calling his plays last year, so who knows how much of that held him back and hindered his growth and performance. But nevertheless, I see him being one of the bigger losers.
I agree. All right, with that, we're gonna move on here. I'm gonna get this all started for us.
I was gonna say not really a big loser, but somebody that's gonna or a team that's gonna upset everybody. The Titans.
No,
they're gonna lose against.
Oh, absolutely,
the Saints.
I agree. Alrighty, I'm
home.
gonna get this pulled up here. For everybody at home, we have our weekly top 5 teams. This is week 1. We're also going to do a special week 1 where we do our top 5 players of the season. That won't be every week. We're just doing that for fun this week. For all of you listening on Spotify at home, we will also be reading this off for you on YouTube. Obviously, you can see the pretty screen that we have up here. We're going to start at 5 and work our way up to 1. Top 5 teams, week 1. We have at number 5, the Philadelphia Eagles, followed by the Dallas Cowboys. Coming in at 3, the San Francisco 49ers, with 2 being a very big surprise here, the Kansas City Chiefs. And then number 1, I think everybody can guess, the Cincinnati Bengals. I have 0 people that guessed Cincinnati. I bet everybody at home was thinking we were going to go Buffalo. What we did for this is we took all of our individual top fives and assigned a numeral or a number value to each place. So first place was with 5 points, second 4, third, or third 3, so on and so forth. And then I took all the teams and averaged out all the scores, and this is what we came up with from everybody at Wide Eye. So this is the consensus among us all. We all had some pretty different takes. Like I had something very similar to this, except I had the Bills in mind, not the Cowboys. So that was me. I know Spoon had something a little different too.
Yeah, I mean, the top three were the same. I still had the Bengals, Chiefs, and 49ers, but I actually had the Bills at 4 and the Cowboys at 5. Now, I know the Eagles fans are going to be mad, but I actually had them at 6. So they were just outside my top 5. I know Eric had like the Jets and the Ravens up here, but
yeah.
which is a little
Eric's
yeah.
at home this week. We had some technical difficulties getting him on the podcast this week. He'll be back soon. We apologize for that, but he was in on the vote, and he had both the Jets and the Ravens in his top 5 at the 4 and the 5 spots. So, but
Wild.
it was wild. I saw it and I was like, whoa! And maybe next week we'll let him defend that take. I was going to let him defend those takes today, but obviously he's not here to defend them. So.
I mean, we're talking about it now, so we
let's just shit all over it. God, that's a fucking garbage take. You can't even defend yourself. Say something, Eric. Say something. He didn't say anything. Didn't say. No, I'm just kidding. Just kidding.
Before I jump in too much on this, Riley, Dalton, what was y'all's top 5?
So I had the Chiefs and Bengals flipped.
Same.
I had the Cowboys at 3,
Same.
Eagles at 4, and Bills at 5.
Yeah,
we were the same,
And
except
I probably.
Oh, go ahead.
I probably would have put the Niners at 6.
Fucking madman.
But
yeah,
that's the best team of the NFC
same top
right now.
3. I had same top 3. I had Chiefs, Bengals, Cowboys, 49ers behind them, and then the Eagles at 5. Even though I hate the Eagles, I gotta put them at least in the top 5.
Everybody,
Bills would have been 6.
Everybody and their mother right now has the Eagles at 2, and I mean the Eagles are a great team, but I see regression this year. That teams are gonna figure out their offense a little more this year. Teams are gonna beef up, and they're just gonna stop them more this year. It's natural regression.
Hard agree.
All right. So I dug into this a little bit. So
Spoon has been waiting for this so much.
Dude, I've been
all
waiting
day.
for this so long. So every single power ranking that I've been seeing has Chiefs 1 and they have Eagles 2, which is fine. That's how it ended last year, sure. But 2023 is a brand new season, okay? It's not the same as it was in 2022. The Eagles are a different team. Offensively, they're kind of similar. They didn't have much change whatsoever. They got a new running back. They switched out Miles Sanders, and they picked up DeAndre Swift. Yes, but I mean,
and Rashad Penny. They picked up Rashad Penny.
Oh yeah, it's just more depth, which is fine because they have a top. They're gonna have a great offense, and I'm not saying that. I still had them at 6. I'm not saying that they're at the bottom of the league. They're absolutely not. I had them at 6. I just don't see them at 2. Because not only do they have a new offensive coordinator, it was their quarterback coach last year, sure. So he's still with the team, but still new offensive coordinator. They're bringing in a brand new defensive coordinator. Now their defense is not going to be the same. Their defense is actually so they lost Javon Hargrave, who had 11 sacks last year. So there's 11 sacks that are wide open. Are we expecting rookie Jalen Carter to step up and pick up those 11 sacks? I don't know. That's a lot to ask for a rookie. Okay.
Unless you're Michael Parsons.
Oh, I get it. That's still a lot to that's still a lot to ask for. Okay, but you also have T.J. Edwards and Kazir White. Both linebackers are not on this team anymore. They're both gone. That is 170 tackles from I believe it was T.J. I got them mixed up. It was either T.J. Edwards or Kazir White. But combined, when you combined both of their tackles, solo and assists, that's 270 tackles last year.
Oh my God!
That now this Eagles defense, yes, it's actually 269.
269.
Nice.
69.
Yeah, 269
nice.
tackles made on this defense last
They have
year.
any
That now
sacks?
they
Did
have
those
to
two have any
figure out.
sacks?
I didn't dig that deep. I'm sorry. I'm sure. I know they have. I'm sure they have.
I'm
a
sure they
couple
have one
sacks,
or
but
two
still,
combined.
Either
at
way,
least.
that's 270 tackles that this defense is missing from last year. Like that is a huge step that you're asking from Zach Cunningham and Nakobe Dean to pick up this year.
I'm not a huge
I
Nakobe
see a
Dean
little-
fan, honestly.
I'm not either. He played a little bit last year. He wasn't like he basically just came in just to give the starters
Yeah,
a little bit.
not
of
a
rest.
huge
That's all it
Nakobe
was.
Dean fan.
Um,
Eh,
I see. That's why I see regression. It's not really in the offense. The offense is going to be great. Yes, I see regression in the defenses.
yeah,
I still think they're going to be great, but still, it's a new defensive coordinator. You're losing five. I think it was 5 starters from last year that you're losing because you're also losing. Yes, Marcus Epps is gone. So his backup Reed Blankenship is now the starter, and I mean he was okay. He wasn't great whenever he was
Yeah.
out there. He was just an average safety whenever he stepped foot out there. So that's why I think that it's okay for all of us to have the Eagles at 5. Like I said, I had them at 6. I see a little regression.
I don't feel the need to justify to anybody why I have the Eagles at 5. No, I'm just kidding. Double Champ does what the
I'm just
fuck
saying,
he
I
wants. No, I'm
Same.
just kidding. No,
I just think it's a legitimate reason. Like you don't know what's going to happen with this defense. This defense
The-
was great
hold
last
on,
year.
hold on.
It's
they're
somewhat
going to
new.
be a top 20 unit in the NFL. Let's not say we don't know what's going to happen. I mean, dropping to top
Oh, they're going to be
dropping
okay.
into
They're
the-
going to be top half.
high teens would be a huge
Yeah, I'd say top 10.
regression. I'm
Yeah.
saying they're anywhere from
I see-
5 to
yeah.
15. Like they're going to be a good defensive unit. They're
Right.
going to make the playoffs. They're going to be in contention to win the NFC again.
And I have them
And
do
that's
that,
why
'cause
they're
like I said,
5 because they're not
Yep.
guaranteed to do that, right? Like the 49ers.
I'm just saying that the Eagles fans that are home that are expecting them to be in the top 2, they don't deserve to be in the top 2 right now because we don't know what's going to happen.
I will say this.
They're still
I
going
would
be
like
great,
to clarify this
but I can't have them.
for the everybody at home. We have the San Francisco 49ers at 3. Nick Bosa is absolutely monumental for that team. Not having Nick Bosa on the
Yeah,
field
he's out.
will
Oh yeah.
borderline ruin that defense sometimes. And this power ranking was with him on the field. If he does
Yes,
not
that was
play,
before it.
San Francisco drops out of my top 5 and we put Buffalo in at 5.
Same.
Yep.
Same.
I think
I
this
agree.
is I think that's
Buffalo was already in my top 5.
yeah, exactly.
regardless, so.
But I'm saying
Yeah.
this. I just want everybody to be like, "Oh, but Nick Bosa's not even signed, and he's not playing. He's holding out." We know he's holding out. We know he's not likely to play. But we did it with all these teams healthy. We did it fully healthy. And if he doesn't play, Bills jump in at 5. 49ers fall out of the top 5 easily, no question, not hard. But with that, we're going to move on to our top 5 players. And we did the exact same ranking system. First is worth 5 points. Second is worth 4 points. And we all did our averages. So at number 5, we have Nick Bosa, speak of the devil. I
Yeah,
LOL.
I
look at the
just,
devil.
I just
There he
felt like that
is.
was the perfect segue into that. You're welcome. At number 4, we have Micah Parsons, who is an absolutely devilish talent on the defensive side of the football.
Dog.
Then at 3, we have Joey B, Joe Burrow. Number 2, we got Jay Jettas, JJ, Offensive Player of the Year. And then at number 1, I think everybody at home watching around the world knows that Mr. Patrick Mahomes was coming in at number 1. I feel like this is
Patty
Has to
cake.
be.
this is not a hard thing to do. The top 2 are no-brainers in my opinion. The one that I felt was the most pushback from like looking at other people's rankings is Joe Burrow.
Josh Allen.
Yeah. Well,
Ooh.
Joe Burrow is the pushback. Like usually Josh Allen is there. And
Yeah.
call me a hater, call me whatever you want. Josh Allen doesn't get it done. He's just people rip on Kirk Cousins all the time for not getting it done in the biggest. Josh Allen doesn't get it done in the biggest moment. It's just a fact.
And Joe Burrow.
Burrow does. I mean,
He does.
He do.
granted,
He goes into
He
Arrowhead.
goes into
It's called
Arrowhead,
Burrowhead for a
and
reason.
I will say Josh Allen Josh Allen has went into Arrowhead and won a game. I don't know how many, but I know he's won at least once. And that's a great rivalry between the Chiefs and the Bills with Josh Allen, Patrick Mahomes, whatever you want to call it.
Yep.
But at the end of the day, in the playoffs and in the biggest games, Josh Allen either hasn't gotten the chance to show it or didn't show it. And that, granted, I know there's been times where he doesn't get the ball in overtime. Stuff like that happens. That happens to all sorts of teams. Okay. I just personally, and I think it reflected in the group, that Joe Burrow is above Josh Allen. I think he's surpassed him.
Yep.
They both have
100%.
great weapons on offense. I do believe Josh Allen's a better playmaker with his legs, no question. But I feel like Joe Burrow's the better quarterback, the better leader, the better all-around football player. Micah Parsons
I
is
think
just too good, though. That dude is so good.
I mean, with our 4-5, an argument could really be made. You could switch them around.
Absolutely.
I do feel like having a couple Cowboys fans. That's why we probably have them at 4
I
instead of 5.
I didn't have
but-
Micah Parsons in my top 5. I won't lie to you.
Well, like I had said in the group chat,
Neither did
man,
I.
Micah Parsons is a lot more versatile, and Dan Quinn really throws him around
Yeah.
in a lot of different ways, other than versus Nick Bosa, who is just he's doing what he's doing. He's not going anywhere, and it's just I feel like it's just easier for him to do one role.
Who would you say is the better pure pass rusher? Nick Bosa or Micah Parsons?
I mean,
Man.
I would say Nick Bosa just because he's been in the league longer.
And I have looked into the stats.
I
All right,
have
Riley,
looked
give us
into the
the stats.
stats. He says, yes,
Let's hear it.
go.
Let's hear it.
He's been waiting
He's
for this.
waiting.
Love it.
So
He's ready to shut us Cowboys fans up.
because when I was making my list, I got to 5, and I was like, okay, I need to put an edge rusher on it, and I compared the two. Now Nick Bosa had, I want to say it was 4.5 more sacks. It was something like 10 more tackles for loss, and the exact same amount of solo tackles. But Micah Parsons had the exact same amount of solo tackles and assisted tackles. So when you look at their tackle totals, Micah Parsons has a lot more, but they have the exact same in solo tackles. So when I was looking at it from the pure edge rusher point of view, I thought it was a no-brainer going with Nick Bosa. He had more sacks, he had more tackles for loss, and the exact same
That's
amount
fair.
of solo
I
tackles.
And that's fair. That's why I said that you could interchange them. Really, they're both
Riley,
both great.
here's where I
You
will
could put-
push back on that a little bit. Yes, he's the better pure edge rusher, but football's not about being a pure edge rusher. It's about being a football player. And Micah Parsons can do almost as good a job pass rushing, plus way more from a moving around and being a multiple guy, rushing up the middle.
He can play coverage.
Micah
Fast.
Parsons can
so fast.
rush from the edge. He can rush up the A gap. He could play in coverage. He can stop the run. I mean, I'm not trying to dog on Nick Bosa here. Nick Bosa is definitely the better D end out of the two. But Micah Parsons, personally, is the better, football player. He's the better all-around guy. Now, I will say I would take Nick Bosa over Micah Parsons because I would run a 4-3 in my personal defense, which I think Nick Bosa would play better in than Micah Parsons. But I think Parsons is the better overall player in his defense. But pure edge rusher, I agree.
I just thought it was a question worth
I agree.
asking.
It was a question worth asking. Now, I'm going to propose this question that none of these guys have been asked this question yet and don't know I'm about to ask it. I want to know why nobody had probably the greatest defensive player of all time in their top 5. Aaron Donald. Nobody had Aaron Donald in their top 5 except for me.
Wow. Yeah.
I mean,
I
he was
thought
hurt
about
last
it.
season.
I
Don't get me
really
wrong.
did.
He was hurt last year. But every other year of his career, he has finished top 4 in Defensive Player of the Year voting. He has been AP first team All-Pro all but last year when he only played 10 full games and his rookie season. Those are the only 2 years he wasn't All-Pro first team. And he has made the Pro Bowl in every single season. And his rookie year, he got Defensive Rookie of the Year. This dude has a Super Bowl. This dude had 20 and a half sacks at one point from the defensive tackle position. That is massive. That is hard to do as an edge rusher. He was doing that up the middle. Like, I think it's a fair question to ask. Like, how did nobody? I had him at 5. I just couldn't believe nobody else had
when
it.
when it came to this list, like the 5 that are in the 5 that we have right now, they were all in mine. I also had Josh Allen and Aaron Donald that I was trying to figure out what to do with them. Not gonna lie, I think it does hurt Aaron Donald the fact that he didn't play last year, so we don't know really what to expect from him this year. Is he going to be the same Aaron Donald that we have seen in previous years, or is he going to be different? Is he going to show up? We don't know, and I think that has something to do with the fact that we didn't put him in our top 5. I understand, like I get it if you put him there, but I think that's why most of us didn't do it.
I'm just saying. I personally greatest defensive tackle to ever play the game. I mean, you could say Reggie White all you
Arguably,
you could say
yeah,
Reggie White all
absolutely.
you want,
He's
but I mean, Aaron Donald trains with knives. He trains by having his trainer throw knives at him like this.
I know, but I think we're just going with top 5 right now.
That's fair. And
From what
I just wanted to pose the question. We don't
let-
want to spend a ton more time on it because we got some other stuff here we got to get to. So, rather, you want to say one more thing?
Well, yeah. So, would you take Aaron Donald over any of these 5 guys? If you were the GM of a team and had your choice, would you take Aaron Donald over any?
No.
of these
Great
guys?
question.
No, he's
I
injured.
wouldn't.
He's injured. He's been in the league the longest. Personally, I would take Micah Parsons because he's got the most room to grow. He's the youngest guy, and he's the most explosive right now. And if you compare him with Nick Bosa's first 2 years, he blows him out of the water.
I would love to see Justin Jefferson play with Dak. So I mean, that
Dak's
would be
not
a
going to
top
come
5
to
for me. I would
Minnesota.
love- No. Oh, okay.
Yeah,
No, I'm talking about-
Justin might leave though. He
Yeah,
was,
Hold up.
I'm just
Speaking of
saying that, like,
that,
I would-
the Vikings. It got reported today that the Vikings do have an extension offer on the table for Justin Jefferson. It is on the table.
Yeah, probably going to make him the highest.
I
paid
would
wide
bet
receiver in the league.
$33 to $35
All
million
time.
a year. He's going to be the highest
all
paid
time.
How
non-quarterback.
much?
He deserves
Since
it.
you are the resident Vikings fan, how much will that handcuff you guys moving forward? Having that much money.
I mean, it's
tied
going to
up
handcuff
into-
any team, really. But when you have a player like that, I mean, a top 3 player in the NFL, period, quarterback or otherwise, I mean, you pay that man. Doesn't matter. I mean, you could put. I mean, there were several times last season where they just threw a safety and a cornerback on JJ, and he still won on routes. The only game where they truly shut JJ down, there were 2 games. The Philly game, they shut him down. The defense did a great job. And then the Packer game, which still upsets me to this day, there's that video of Jair Alexander fucking holding him and then getting up and grittying off the field. 80% of that game was double coverage. 20% of that game, they had triple coverage on Justin Jefferson. They had man on the line of scrimmage with a linebacker set off the man coverage right behind him, and then a safety over the top. 20% of snaps were like that for them. 20%. That's crazy.
Damn.
That is
Yeah.
insane.
I mean, all of us had Justin Jefferson in
Yeah,
our top 5,
yeah,
right?
absolutely.
Yeah.
Pay the man. You absolutely pay. If all of us have him in our top 5,
Pay that
pay
man.
that guy.
All right, speaking
Patrick Mahomes, they paid him, and that's why we didn't have Jonathan Taylor. and that's why
Speaking
we wanted
of
to keep him.
contract negotiations, there's another man in the NFL who's trying to get paid, but probably won't get paid what he wants to get paid, and that's Jonathan Taylor. Man, I've been saying this for a long time.
I wanted to bring him up.
I would never, in this current age of football, I ain't paying a running back. Ain't doing it. No way, no how. I'm going to draft a guy high, and then I'm going to use him for 4 or 5 years, and then I'm going to draft another guy high. Like, I get it. They want to be paid.
Yeah, but if you got the guy, if you have the guy and he's that good, just pay him. You already have the guy.
Hold on. It's a
running backs are a dime a dozen.
running backs are a
though.
dime a dozen, and it's a proven fact that after age 30, running backs decline 99% of the time. And if they're on a 5-year contract, most of the time they're 28, 29 going into that second contract when you would pay them. So you're paying them for 1 year and they wanted a 5-year deal? No chance. I'm not.
Absolutely
That's
not.
why I have been saying this. I think running backs should have the option of taking 3-year rookie deals rather than 4. So they can hit free agency younger.
Do it.
And
Absolutely.
they would still get the what the fourth and fifth year of the tag if they wanted.
Yeah, the
to. You know
NFLPA
what I
has
mean?
to step
Yeah.
in here. They're just the NFL is just not going to pay running backs because teams have proven outside of the Seattle Seahawks in 2013 over the past 25 years almost I understand the Rams back in the day, but almost no great running backs. Maybe the Colts, Edwin James, maybe you can give it there, but I mean, other than those
I mean, like
three, you did no names win running. James Starks won a
the
Super Bowl.
the Patriots, whenever they were winning their Super Bowls, who was their starting running
Exactly.
back? Does
LeGarrette
anybody
Blount.
know? Yeah, exactly. Like, you don't have to have a
We're-
stud running back to win a Super Bowl. You have to have a stud
I
line
agree.
to block for any running back that you can just hand the ball off to that has decent division. And right now, it's just running backs are a dime a dozen. I see happening with Jonathan Taylor what's been going on with Le'Veon Bell.
Yeah,
in the
it never
past.
works out well.
I see him try. It doesn't work out well. It's going to end up to the point where he's not going to get paid, and I feel bad for him because he's great. He's such a stud running back.
Yeah, great kid, super
But
talented,
it's just-
super good person. Nothing against him as a person. It's just if I
But the longer he holds out and requests trades, like, it's just teams are going to be like, oh, I don't want him. I'm not going to pay that much for him. I can just draft a third string, I can draft a running back in the third round next year and be just fine.
all right, I know
I've heard rumors that Jim Irsay is going to keep him on the PUP list to make sure
See,
he plays.
And that's
next year.
just messed up, man. Like,
all right, let's
But that's where I
Dalt-
think their relationship's
is-
gotten. I think it is one of the most toxic relationships in the
Dalt
NFL
is
right
full on the
now.
side.
Is Jonathan Taylor.
Dalt is full on the moral side of this conversation. Dalt is looking at this
Yeah.
fully as
I
a
am,
moral
man.
human being,
You-
and I need you to understand this is
It's
a
a
business.
business.
They are working.
It's a
Goodness.
business.
a business. Do you hear how crazy that sounds? They're people. They're people that are damaging their bodies every time they step out onto that field. You had DeMar Hamlin, and you got in preseason 2 guys in the preseason. Almost they just dropped on the field. Now, who knows if that was influenced by DeMar Hamlin? You know, I'm not gonna point fingers at anybody or say anybody did anything for a certain reason. But when you have things happen, it's like, oh, this is the first time it happened. The next year, you're gonna see 3 or 4 of them. You know what I'm saying? It's gonna be more prevalent because it opens the window for things like that. With that being said, it's a dangerous game that these guys play. You're a running back. You're running behind. You know, your quarterback hands you the ball, and you're running behind the biggest guys on your team, and then you have the other biggest guys on the other team that are trying to tackle you and smush you. And it's just a
Smush.
very physically demanding position. You know what I mean? Wide receivers are often one-on-one, you know what I mean, or double coverage. But it's like I feel like running backs typically it's like 1v7. You know what I mean? Like as soon as you know that it's a running play, everybody's going after that guy.
I mean, I'm gonna say
oh
this:
my god,
RBs out there listening at home, don't hate me for this. It takes more skill to be a wide receiver. You have to be more technically skilled to succeed
Disagree.
at the NFL level as a wide receiver. Running backs have to have
Disagree.
high levels of skill in different ways, but there's a reason there's like 2 running backs who can truly go out and play wide receiver. Like it just doesn't happen.
but that's an expectation. That's an expectation that
in
you
that-
have of running backs to go out and catch those balls versus wide receivers. Like that's just their job.
But even
That's
the best
just what
running
they
backs
do.
can't-
running backs have to be
Even the best
versatile.
running backs can't go run routes. Like I guarantee you Austin Eckler is one of the best passing backs in the league. But if you ask him to go out there and run 70 routes a game, he's not going for 150 yards.
Well,
Okay, well, yeah, but you wouldn't have
Yeah.
him run 70 routes a game because he's a running back, and you have wide receivers to do that.
how many wide receivers can run the ball between the tackles 15
How
20
many
times
how
a
many
game
running backs
and
this
do
day and age
stuff
can
to
do
see-
that though?
Tony Pollard.
I think there's
I think
more than you
there's
think.
I think there's probably 25 true RBs who could still pound it between the tackles in the NFL period. Like that's on all rosters. I feel like some teams don't even have that guy anymore because the NFL isn't really that anymore. You don't really pound it between the tackles unless you're the Eagles or the 49ers. You don't really do that. Like the Chiefs don't have that. Chiefs have Isaiah Pacheco. They have Jerick McKinnon and Clyde Edwards-Helaire. None of those three guys are true downhill between the guards, off tackle kind of guy.
That's kind of what
Which is exactly why I think the Chiefs need to go after.
That it doesn't benefit you though
No,
if you're the
think-
Chiefs.
you
You just won a
imagine-
Super
no, no,
Bowl
So
without
the Chiefs-
having that because you don't do that. They don't
Well,
do that.
The Chiefs are good enough that they can give up a late first. But think about how much more dynamic that offense would be with Jonathan Taylor on it.
just insane.
I mean,
It might be one of the best
hold
offenses
up.
we've
Let
ever
me
seen.
throw it back to this. Do you remember when Andy Reid made Kareem Hunt the leading rusher in the NFL? Do you guys remember that? Kareem Hunt led.
Yeah. And he's still not
Well,
signed to a team.
But
which is
my
nuts.
point being is that you don't need Jonathan Taylor to have a great run game.
yeah, but that's Kareem Hunt though.
Mm.
You can't just say that was all Andy Reid.
I stand. Kareem Hunt is not. Granted, this was 6-7 years ago now. Kareem Hunt is not
He's
on a
not
team.
Jonathan Taylor.
No, that's my point. Is he's not Jonathan Taylor. You need a dude. You need a top 20 guy and a great line, and you can pound the ball, off tackle, wide eye sports plug, fucking spread option, whatever you want to do. You can do whatever you want. You can run the ball however you want to run the
Yeah.
ball, and if you have a great line, doesn't matter who the running back is. The number one example, I'm gonna take a second, throw it way back. Sean Alexander. You go back. You watch Sean Alexander's MVP season. Okay, you watch that. That dude was running behind Walt Jones and Steve Hutchinson. Oh, we lost Spoon. Well, we'll see if he comes back. He was running behind those two guys. That dude was getting like 4.5 yards a carry before contact, and he only averaged like 5.5 yards a carry. And he rushed for
Okay.
2,000 yards and an MVP. Like,
Yeah.
it doesn't matter if you're running behind somebody great. It doesn't matter who you are. That dude was averaging like a yard
Yeah.
and a half after contact. It was crazy.
I will say I'm excited to see the run game develop in Dallas this year with A, Mike McCarthy calling the plays, B, no more Zeke, and hopefully they will stop running up the gut because that's all they ever had Zeke do. And Tony Pollard and Deuce Vaughn are guys that need to have room and run around outside. I feel
Yeah.
like
Oh,
just
are we-
watching
are
the
we getting
preseason,
Spoon back?
we saw Deuce break
Are we getting
loose.
Spoon back? Is he coming back? Hey, there he is. He's back.
There he is.
All right. He said he's sorry. We
Yeah.
can't. You cut in and out there. What was that, Spoon?
Oh, I was cut out for me, so I had to restart real quick. So you guys done talking about Jonathan Taylor?
Yeah. Just to catch you up, we had talked about Sean Alexander and how he got to run behind the greatest left side of an offensive line ever and averaged like 4.5 yards a carry, and
Of course.
and after contact only averaged like 1.5 yards and won an MVP. So that's a recap for you. We're gonna move on to our final segment though. We're gonna wrap things up.
You have that tweet?
Yes, with bet talk here. We got some bets to talk about here. We'll get to.
Oh, you don't
we'll,
want to
we'll
show
get
them the
to
tweet?
in just a second. That'll be our last little tidbit at the very end.
Okay.
I'm
All
gonna
right.
give a real quick lock for me. It's a parlay, 3-team parlay, all money line. It's like plus 120 odds on this. Nothing crazy, but it's solid money. You got Ravens over Houston, Commanders over Arizona, and the Jags over Indianapolis. That is a lockdown bet. Those three teams are winning. Easy money. All right. Anybody else got a parlay bet they want to talk about anything? No? Nobody? All right. Well, cool. Oh,
I do.
Spoon.
I
Go for it.
was gonna say I got a
Go
couple.
for it.
So
You know Spoon does.
yeah, of course. So one of my top bets that I have for the week is actually a team total. I have the under for the Atlanta Falcons team total this week. It's right now they're sitting at 21.5. I don't think they score that. I think they're going up against. I know it's a division game against Carolina, but I mean, Carolina does not have a bad defense. I see them holding them to less than 21.5. I also have the Saints at -3. I would take that. I'm high on the Saints
Same.
this year. I have the Bengals at -2.5. I think a lot of people are. I know it's
Take
a
that.
division game. They're going into Cleveland, but I'm not big on Cleveland this year. I mean, I think they're going to win a few games, but I'm going to take the Bengals there. I'm also going to take the Bears at -1.5 over the Packers. I
would
think,
take that bet.
yeah. I don't think, yeah.
Game of the week.
Game of the week.
Game
yeah,
of the
I
week.
see.
He said game of the week. He said
Game of the
game of
week.
Tune
calling
in, game
it.
of the week. All right.
There you go. So that's
All
mine
right,
for
there
you.
we go. All right, last thing we got for you folks today is Spoon sent me something earlier this week that he wanted to take a look at here on the pod. And I, being a resident Viking fan, will take any opportunity to bash the Packers possible. So if you're a Packer fan, you might want to just unplug right here and just join us next week because we
Yeah.
have
Just step,
we
step
have our
away.
dumb
Also a Packer
we have
hater.
a dumb take of the week here. We have a Packer fan, Green Bay Pod Daily, GBP Daily. I don't know who. I don't know.
I don't
who
know.
this
I
is.
was just scrolling on Twitter and it popped up.
Spoon
on my
was
feed.
scrolling through Twitter late at night. You can see right here, in low battery.
Yeah,
Plug your
low
fucking
battery.
phone in. What's going on? So here we have him scrolling through, and we have a Packer fan giving some smirk faces about their quarterback schedule. Now, I don't know about him, but I would say any schedule where you have to face Derek Carr, Jared Goff, Kirk Cousins, Matthew Stafford, Justin Herbert, Patrick Mahomes, Kirk Cousins twice. I mean, Justin Fields is a great football player. Not a.
I mean, honestly, I'm going to throw Daniel Jones in
Maybe.
I
there.
mean, I'm not as
Honestly, I'm
high
gonna
on
throw him in
Daniel
there.
Jones, but I know Spoon is, so we'll give it to. But anyway, this is not an easy.
Hey, if no one else is gonna do it, I will do it. Baker
God,
Mayfield.
shut up.
Boo.
Yeah,
Get
go
outta
ahead.
here.
Go ahead.
Get outta
That's
here.
fine. Hey,
Johnny
Baker
Manziel 2.0.
That's
Nobody
that's
loves
fine.
you.
The
Leave.
only reason why this upset me, the reason this upset me so much is because this Packers fan put the smirk face twice, thinking this is an easy
Yeah, I mean,
quarterback
you got-
schedule, and I'm sorry, it's
You
not.
got one,
It's
not-
It's
two,
not easy at all.
3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 games against Pro Bowl quarterbacks. 10 games against
Yep.
Pro Bowl or higher level quarterbacks. That
And
Like, good
what-
luck.
what-
This is not an
what
easy
are
schedule.
they what are they expecting from
They-
Jordan Love? Like, are they expecting him
See-
to be the next?
see, if
coming
you're
of
a
Aaron
Packer
Rodgers?
fan,
then
and you're
that's-
our age, right? You're between 20 and 30, say. You have never known anything but MVP level quarterback
Hall
play.
of Fame.
So you just assume
Yes.
right.
that he's gonna be
That's
an
Jordan Love.
MVP. Obviously, we're the Packers, and we let him sit behind the starter. He's obviously gonna be an MVP. And
But look at how that worked out for
I-
Trey Lance. He's been sitting behind the starter
I
his
agree.
entire
I
career.
think that Jordan Love is going to be a mid-level quarterback. I'm not saying he's going to be a bust or a bum, but I certainly would say he's going to be great. You know, from the limited tape we have on him, he looks like a serviceable quarterback that can play some snaps and hopefully not handicap the Packers. I mean, I hope he handicaps them, but they hope he doesn't handicap them.
And I will say though, having the Bears week 1, that is a easier defense to face.
Yeah.
Week
So we just wanted to take a second. We're gonna
Just- yeah,
cut
I
it
just
off
wanted to call
there.
him out.
We're just wanted to throw that out there. And then last but not least, last thing before I let everybody go home here is earlier in the week, if you follow us on Instagram, that's Wide Eye Sports on Instagram. We have been doing a countdown each day to the NFL season with different players and players' numbers. Our very own Lane Cooner here got to pick out a photo earlier this week, and I let him pick it out. I'm so nice. I know. I had two
Pick a number
pictures.
between 1 and 2.
I
and
had two
picked 2.
pictures of Dak Prescott for the Instagram account.
You're gaslighting all of our
and
fans right now. I want
He
everyone
picked
to
the
know that.
second picture, and it's a truly great picture. Yeah, I'm not going to show it on here.
He picked the second
should
picture,
just-
and Brenner
just-
put his hand.
Just
Brenner
check
put
it
his
out on
hand
our
out
Instagram, all
and
right?
said, "Pick a hand," and he picked a hand.
You should just
check it out on
go
our
check it out on
Instagram, all right?
Instagram. Give a follow. Make sure to follow here. Make sure to subscribe here on YouTube, Spotify, wherever you're listening.
Almost made me quit the pod.
Almost made me quit the pod, he says. All right, that'll wrap it up for us today. Thank you all for listening, and we will see you all after week 1 has concluded. Everybody have a wonderful opening weekend. Goodbye.